This episode of Super Boothers is brought to you by Photo Booth Startup, giving you the ultimate photo booth at an affordable price. Specializing in ring light booths, whether you're just starting out or adding some to your fleet, Photo Booth Startup can help. Visit their website at photoboothstartup.com. Hello and welcome to Super Boothers. My name is Ryan.
And I'm Ismail.
So, funny story.
Of course. Oh.
Actually, so I was in New Orleans a couple weeks ago, I guess, but Nolans. By the time this airs, it was a couple of weeks ago, and I spoke to the ILEA chapter there, and it was absolutely amazing. It was at the B Hotel on Canal. Sorry, excuse me. Everyone was so amazing, and I really have to say thank you to Samantha Lister, which is their president, and Keisha Vincent, who is one of the sales managers at the B. They put me in their presidential, and it was fabulous. It's an old hotel that they completely gutted and just completely decked out, and it was so amazing. So thank you to both of them for hosting me. But that's not what this story is about. This story is about, so we did the ILEA chapter meeting, and I did a really cool interactive I did a thing with like a poll where everyone would like text and then it would show up on the screen. So I did two exercises. One exercise was, to tell me like what your feelings are. Go ahead.
Ryan, before you get too deep into that story, would you mind explaining what ILEA is, what these chapter meetings are about, and what you cover, like just for people that don't know anything about it?
Absolutely. So what ILEA is International Live Events Association, and every city most likely has one. If not, there's a city close to you that has one. And every month they do, different networking events, different educational events, what have you. They bring in speakers from clearly everywhere to give their expertise on whatever it is their field may be. I went in and we talked about websites and Instagram because that's kind of my thing. And I went in there and we discussed, I did a little opening poll where everyone was texting their answers, and it would show up on the screen in real time. And I was like, what are your feelings? And, if there's a word that you could use to describe your web presence, what would that be? It was surprisingly like negative. Like people said that theirs was outdated. They felt it was cluttered. They didn't feel like it had direction. So that was great for me because, I'm really good at solving those problems.
First thing is for people to admit they have a problem.
Step one.
And I wonder why, like people that know it's an issue and know how important it is, I wonder why they haven't done anything about it.
We don't have time. I'm guilty of this myself. I'm still waiting on, my front page of my website to be done. I don't know if it'll ever get done. It's just one of those things where, we just get so busy working our events and, selling and servicing clients. We don't think of the new clients. And how we are portrayed in the world.
It's just a classic example, again, of how people get caught up working in the business, that they don't have time to really work on the things that can significantly impact your business. So it's just interesting. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. It happens all the time. We're all guilty of it, but it's just interesting to step back and realize where you're putting your efforts.
Yeah, there was a rental company, and his website, he self-admittedly said it has been since 2010 since he's had his website redone. I'm like, this thing is moldy.
There's now something called Instagram. I don't know if that was around in 2010, so there's new things.
For sure. Well, no, but the website was not even mobile responsive. And by mobile responsive, I mean to where it looks pretty on a phone or it looks pretty on a tablet. I mean, it was just the same. And it was really great. And, I actually have the whole thing recorded. I'm not sure. I might release it as a bonus podcast. I don't know if I will, just because I'm not sure about the audio quality, and a lot of it had to do with it was mostly visual. But anyways, I'll see if it's you.
So you only recorded the audio.
Yeah, I only recorded the audio. We couldn't get video out of it, but if the audio is good enough, I might release it.
I guess if people want it that bad, they should start bothering you. Maybe that'll change your mind. Wink, wink.
For sure. Um, so, anyways, that is not my story.
So that wasn't it.
So my story comes after the fact. What happened after? I had we finished our luncheon, finished the talk. Everyone came up to me. They, gave me, great feedback, and said that they learned a lot, which is always I always hope that someone learns at least one or two things from whatever I have to say, whatever that may be. And it was a part of it was a tough room, and I don't know if it was just because it was such a small group and no one kind of wanted to really like put forth like their website for criticism or whatever. So I think the two people that did. But anyways, so my story comes after I left, and I was like, I'm gonna go to Harrah's and see what the casino looks like.
Why am I not surprised?
And this is freaking hysterical. So for those that don't know, whenever we were in Vegas at PBX, I lost a lot of money.
Did you?
And oh yeah, I didn't even tell you that.
That's funny because when people win money, they can't stop talking about it, but when they lose, they keep their mouth shut.
Oh, whenever I win money, I keep my mouth shut. It stays shut. Don't tell anyone that I won anything. I mean, so anyway, so I'm like, I'm going to go to the casino. So one thing I will say is, if it's one thing that my grandparents taught me, is to gamble responsibly and only gamble A, what you can lose, and B, don't go to the ATM inside the casino. Don't do it.
Those grandparents are good for something.
They really are. But my grandfather has broken both of those rules on, throughout their entire 53 years of marriage. So anyways, so I went to the ATM prior to going into the casino, went straight to the roulette table and lost it. I'm like, I'm going to leave. I went down to go walking, and they were shooting a movie, took some pictures, #SetLife. And then I went to go into like a little, just like a little, like souvenir shop, picked up a couple of things for some friends. I went to Pinkberry, had a lovely time. I was on the phone with one of my friends. She was, talking to me about what was going on with her son, who is now a junior in college. And funny enough, we were talking about whenever we took him to Disney forever ago. But anyways, that's beside the point. Hung up with her, and I'm like, I have a couple hours. I'm just going to go into the casino one more time. Went to the ATM, made another withdrawal. I'm like, this time I'm not going to do roulette. I'm going to just do slots. Actually, that was a lie. I did go play roulette. Went over to the roulette table and, put some money in. Lost it. Got to my last $10. And I'll be darned if my number red 23 hit. So I won $360. So I kind of won my money back from the first go around. I'm like, oh, perfect. I'm in the positive. Let's go play the slot machines. Went over to the slot machine and put some money in. I hit a little bonus. I'm like, fantastic. This is great. Pressed it again, hit another bonus. Pressed it again, hit another bonus. And then this thing, like lights were going off, and I was like, what's happening here? I was like, I'm going to cash this out and I'm going to go to the next machine. I look, and I needed to leave so my flight was at 9:10.
Oh, you got plenty of time.
My flight was at 9:40. So I know that I needed to be at the airport by at least 8:40. So I look at the clock, and it is 7:45 on my phone. Plenty of time. So I move over, put some money in the new slot machine. I'm playing. I'm winning. I look at my phone, it dies. And right whenever I looked at it, it said it was 8:15. Now, for those that do not know, it is part of casino psychology to not have clocks anywhere.
I wonder why.
So I'm winning. I'm up. I don't know how up I am. No, I take that back. I went down a little bit. But anyways, so I continue on. I think to myself, I'll leave in 10 minutes. Well, 10 minutes in slot machine time. So I'm like, I'm just going to play until I hit a bonus. So I'm pressing the button. Bonus. Fantastic. I hit it. So, and this was like the big one. So, which like, I don't know why, because I could have spent $400 in that stupid slot machine and not hit a bonus. So it was like a shocker that I hit the thing. So anyways, hit the bonus and I'm winning and it keeps going into like extra bonus games. So I'm on like the 5th bonus game. I won at least $350 on that one spin alone, on top of whatever I had already won. Cash out. I look at the ticket. The ticket says 840.
Wow.
Ruh-roh. My plane leaves in 1 hour. I am 20 minutes away from downtown. So,
but now you have a decision to make.
Do I keep?
Because the way it's going, you might want to keep going and buy a new ticket.
No. Well, that's the thing is, I actually could have made the change on my phone, and luckily Southwest doesn't charge you for that. But anyways, I didn't do that because I needed to be in town for an event the next day. So I haul back to the airport. By some miracle, I make it at 9:00. Meanwhile, I was able to put gas in my rental car, go to my rental car, drop it off. I am running through the airport Home Alone style. And for those of you that haven't been to the New Orleans airport, the rental car and Southwest are on opposite sides of the property. Literally, my gate from the rental is like easily like a mile easily.
This is where all that cardio
I was hauling. Oh my gosh, it was so stupid. So anyways, so I get on the plane and I make it and it's all fine and good. So that was my New Orleans story.
What's the lesson?
Well, first of all, the lesson is charge your devices so that you don't have this. I mean, I don't know. I'm really glad. I wish I could go to New Orleans more often. I really do. Not for the casino aspect of it, but for the beignets.
There's got to be some valuable nuggets in that story. Otherwise, why did you tell the story, Ryan? Tell me.
Well, hold on. This is the sad thing. So I have events going on. So I'm texting my attendants back and forth, and this is kind of truly what I wanted today's topic to be. I didn't expect my casino story to be that long, but anyways, my thing is I was texting my attendants back and forth. What is your opinion on this? Do you have any restriction on what your attendants can and can't do at events?
Just generally speaking, what they can and can't do?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't allow them to drink alcohol on the job. That's just one specific example. But I'm sure there's plenty of things I wouldn't want them to do. I just rely on common sense for them to know what's appropriate and what's not appropriate.
Sex with a bridesmaid.
Oof.
Sex with the groom.
During the gig?
I have another story.
During the gig or after the gig? Because that is a significant fact that I need to know.
I have a story. No. Anyways, well, that's another podcast. Anyways, no. So this is why I bring this up. I really cannot stand it whenever attendants take photos once the gig has begun.
You don't want them to take photos?
No. There are times where we will be in situations where there is. So actually, this has happened before.
And when you say photos, are you talking about them using the booth, or are they taking photos of people using the booth?
So this is my thing. Is there's one attendant that I had where in downtime she would take pictures of herself, thinking she's looking cute, and post them. Meanwhile, the client would go through the gallery after the fact and see half the photos of everything that she paid for was her attendant taking photos of herself.
Well, that's not good.
Well, and I'm a very...
That's where the common sense I mentioned kicks in.
It's not common sense to everyone. Because, I mean, an attendant may not know that, these photos are getting seen later or what have you. I don't know. But again, common sense is different between you and me. But anyways, so this is my thing, and what I have a problem with is, first of all, after the test shots, I don't want the attendant taking any photos, period. I mean, if there's a photo that if you need to like recalibrate something and check your lighting, that's fine here and there, but don't go in that thing, feeling
Yeah,
yourself.
totally agree. I mean, there's been instances where I've been at events where people get very rowdy, and for some reason they want the attendant in the group photos with them.
Yeah.
It's hard to say no to that. So I may have partaken in some of those activities, and I wouldn't blame my attendants for doing that. But I definitely agree with you. Otherwise, it doesn't. It's not a good look.
Well, so this is the thing is, so I guess it's two things here. So first of all, I don't want them to be in those photos, even if you're recalibrating something, because then that throws off the final number. So I can't go to my client and say, oh, we took 150 photos when 25 of them are just you playing with a boomerang. Number two, I don't want an attendant going in, taking photos with another guest because then you're opening a door for a line to be crossed. That doesn't sit well with me.
So what would you do if a group of people are all having fun and trying to get the attendant in one of the photos?
I'm so sorry. We are not allowed to do that. I apologize.
I don't know if I agree with that.
No, I can It opens the door. I had an attendant. His name
Don't say his name.
rhymes with. Anyways, he's a very good-looking guy. For some reason, there was older women that particularly went for that sort of demographic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying they're cougars. I'm saying they were old enough to be saber-toothed tigers.
Mm-hmm.
And she was very forceful in wanting to have photos. And he did the right thing. He handled it. And you know what? If you go in, you take a photo and you tell me and put it in your event report, hey, listen, this is what happened. I'm fine with that. It is documented at that point because it's documented the night it happens. So if I get a phone call or an email or something from someone accusing someone of something, I at least have evidence to back it up. So what people don't understand is that event report that we, tell you so much about is so crucial for anything that might happen after the fact. And you may not even know, that this email's coming. This email could very well blindside you.
But even it's not just the event report that's useful there. It's the attendant knowing that they should write that in the event report, right? So I don't know if that's something that you train them to do or they have experience or it's just common sense, but he needs to know that he has to put that in the event report.
Sure, absolutely. And that's something that we have conversations with is, if an attendant is telling me, hey, listen, there's a planner that came up to me that said we needed to set up in this area. And then the person actually paying for the party, who's throwing the party or the birthday girl or whoever or the bride or whatever says that they needed it moved over here. That stuff needs to be in the event report. So all of it. So that's just kind of training your employees to know what to look out for and to know what kind of thing needs to be documented.
Now, when you talk about training, is that something that you like do initially when someone joins the team, or just kind of an ongoing?
No, this is always an ongoing thing. I mean, yes, you will go over, hey, here's what's going to happen. I want to know what time you got there, what time you left, what time you started. Did you start late? All of that. If there's the way how I look at it is if there is a problem, I'm here to help you. I cannot help you if I do not know the information. I will protect you if need be. I mean, the way how I look at it is, for me, the customer is not always right. I'm going to believe my attendant before I believe a customer, just because I know that the motive of that customer is just going to get money back. I just know that that's how they operate because that's how it's always been. If there's a problem that a customer is coming to me for, we are so bottom of the barrel that it's just looking for money back.
I've also found, what makes effective training in my experience is sometimes these stories are very powerful. So it's different telling someone something, hey, you got to do this. And it's different when things happen, getting your team together, having a powwow and saying, hey, this is what happened at this event. This older woman was doing this. This is how our team member handled it. What do you guys think? Did he do it right? You kind of get everyone to engage with that story.
Yeah,
and then you tell them what you think is the correct way to handle it and why it matters. And that stuff is really more powerful training. And I find even these big brands out there, like there are some brands that are known for their crazy return policies, like Costco, right? The way they train their employees is that they share these stories where, hey, this guy bought a box of cereal 3 years ago and he came to return it and we returned it. And that sends a message to your team that when people come to return stuff, even though it looks really shady, we still accept those returns. So you're kind of training your team through these really cool stories. And I find that to be very effective. I'd recommend people do that listen to the show.
That's another thing is one of my clients is Costco, and it was this past Christmas where a customer returned a dead Christmas tree, and they absolutely returned it because they have 100% satisfaction guarantee. And I mean, and they know that the amount of people that are going to return a dead Christmas tree is going to be slim to none. However, the media storm that came after the fact of social media shaming that person, I mean, it was just more powerful than, the $100 that they refunded.
Yep. I heard that story. But even if you work at Costco and you hear that story, you're learning something from that you take the return no matter what. So like I said, it's a really powerful way of training people.
So anyways, is there anything else that you do with your attendants to, prevent problems before they happen?
If I'm honest, I think there's only so much prevention you can do with a new team member. It's really the way people learn and the way companies learn is really through time, right? So as things happen, constantly getting better, you have to make your company a learning company, right? So that happens when you share stories, whether you get together with your team monthly or quarterly. You talk about, hey, this is what happened here. What do you guys think is the right way to handle it? And hey, that's wrong.
Sure.
You're actually supposed to do it this way because this, and this may happen. So those regular discussions that kind of continuously teach people is really how you get your company to continue to grow. So do I do anything special? No, but I definitely look for these stories. So for example, that one thing you mentioned with your male attendant and the older lady, I would bring that up in the next meeting. And I would say, this is what happened. This is why it's not okay. And this is what we think we should do going forward. And if you do that enough times, you'll find less and less stories coming up.
He now has a #MeToo bumper sticker. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you haven't already, please join our Facebook group at facebook.com/group/superboothers. And please tell us what you thought of today's episode. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you next week.